book mail. I filmed, and here it is. Oh man, come on. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah, and today is going to be a very short Friday reads. I have not got much read this week. It's been not busy, but it's just been not a reading week for me, I guess you could say. I'll start it off with the one DNF I've had this week. I am extremely disappointed about this one too. That is Villains and Virtues Thrown in the Dark by A.K. Kagiano. Absolutely love this cover. I was so excited about this. I've only heard good things, and on paper this should be something I would love. It is enemies to lovers. They have a the writing tone is kind of goofy. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Everyone raves about it, but I DNF'd this at about 40%, 35, 40%. And I was like, why am I struggling with this? Everyone loves this. It's so recommended on like Reddit and Goodreads and stuff. I cannot wait 75% of a book for it to get good. And I was looking at reviews, people were like, wait till 75% if you're struggling and then it's great. I'm not reading 75% of this book for it to get good. I'm sorry. With love and respect. No. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. My biggest problem, everything was great except for the fact that the premise of this is that our female main character is attempting to steal something from our male main character. And when she does, she reaches in and she's reaching for a scroll, but instead she grabs this talisman that he has made that gives him complete control over her. He can give a command and she has to obey it. It takes away her autonomy, her free will, and she doesn't have a clear memory of what she does while she's enthralled to him. It does come back to her, but he can do what he wants with her, basically. He just needs to speak the command word and give her a command. And I don't like it. No. And while he seems to be a good guy, he seems to be nice, he has no nefarious means, or nefarious, what's the word I want? He doesn't seem to be going to use this against her, per se, in a not nice way, besides the fact that he plans to kill her later. It was gross. I didn't like it. It bothered me. I don't like our female characters having no agency. She has no agency. She also had little to no personality. Everybody's like, oh, at 25%, she pops off. I'm not reading 75% of a book for that. I'll give you 30 or 40 before it gets better, but I'm not giving you 75. So unfortunately, that's not for me. I'm happy if you loved it, but I did not. So that's probably going to go to the used bookstore for someone else to enjoy. That was my DNF for the week, which took up more of the week than I would have liked to have. More of the week than I would have liked it to have. But then I finished and tabbed so much Careless People by Sarah Wynne Williams. This is a memoir about a woman who worked at Facebook from early in its days until I think it was like 2017, 2016, somewhere in there. She details how Facebook started. Careless People is the perfect title for this. They only wanted to create this powerful and successful platform. There was very little thought given to any global or political ramifications of Facebook, right? Which you would think that would be the case. There's a lot there, as we have seen. She was convinced of this, and she was correct, and she talked her way into getting a job at Facebook as like this manager of global policy. And she talks about how over the years she worked so hard and with higher-ups like Mark Zuckerberg and Cheryl, what's her name, I can't remember Cheryl's last name, she just calls her Cheryl, to get them meetings with world leaders, to work with governments, all this stuff, and they simply did not care unless it was to profit them in any way or to help them succeed. She talked about Cheryl had a book come out, and I was working at a bookstore when it came out, I do believe, called Lean In, and how that affected the people at the workplace, how accurate or not accurate it was to Cheryl and her personality and how she did things. And ultimately, her time at Facebook ended when she reported sexual harassment and assault, borderline assault, and she was fired for that. So that gives you an indication. This, more than anything, made me want to delete my Facebook and have nothing to do with it. But unfortunately, at this point, there's very little we can do about it. It is so ingrained in our lives, in corporations, and it's a shame. She also pointed out that after the Trump election, Zuckerberg finally saw the power that Facebook might have, and which is why he is now very concerned with his image more so than he was. And she said, look forward to him possibly running for president one day, and I wouldn't be surprised. And it was just, it was infuriating to read. I spent a lot of this time reading this angry and upset. She talked about things like is it Myanmar? I can't pronounce the country name because I have to see it, and flipping to it's going to take me forever. The genocide and attack on Muslims there. She talked about China and how Facebook was fully prepared to hand over things like facial recognition and post-by-post censorship of Chinese citizens to the government so that they could regulate and jail or torture or whatever their citizens based on what they posted on the internet and things like that. I think it's worth reading. I think it's worth reading if you are interested in Facebook, its journey that it has been on, what they aim to do with their company, what they have done with the company. It's worth reading. I know there's always cynics out there, right? This one person's experience, it's meant to be incendiary, all these things can be said. But if even half of the things that she wrote about are even a little bit true, it's horrifying. So there you go. Don't read this unless you want to be a little angry or a lot angry. But it was worth the read. Like I said, I tabbed it all to hell and back. I started highlighting and putting notes in. One of the things that stuck out to me towards the end, we find out that Facebook possibly still has a AI tool that when a 13 to 17-year-old girl deletes a selfie or a picture, it triggers a slew of advertisements from beauty companies. Because in a moment of weakness, that's the best time to advertise, right? Especially to a young kid. So just keep that in mind. I think at this point we all know Facebook is not our friend. But just in case you forgot, I would recommend picking that up. Besides that, the one book that I have been chipping away at very slowly all week is The Price of Power. Just a second. I had it over here, right here. I have it on my Kindle. I was wanting to have my physical copy here by the time I filmed, and it's not here yet. It's supposed to be here today. It's out for delivery. It's just not here yet. This book, now remember when I said I'll give a book 30 or 40% before I DNF it, not 75? This book is a good example of that. 25% in, and I was like, this is slow. I know there's going to be good meat here, but it is slow to start. But I kept going, and it just got it. It just hit its stride. I think at like the 35% for me, 30 to 35%. And I was invested. Truthfully, it was when a certain viewpoint was introduced. Tefios, I'm not sure how you say his name. He is doing something that's going to end badly, I think. So this is following several points of view. We have a young princess who is trying to take her place as a citizen. She's trying to pass these trials that her people all go through. We have a disgraced prince who refuses to be a prince. We have Tefi. He is a pig farmer who is trying to frankly die. His goal is to die, and to do that, he ascends this holy mountain. We have, our last point of view, if I remember correctly, is the Mistress of Time, an awakened sort of mage character, training her grandson to be the thing that will stop the encroaching darkness that's coming. We occasionally get Garlina, who is the guardian, the sworn sister, you might say, of our disgraced Mad Prince. And we follow all of them throughout this book. It's over 600 pages, at least according to my Kindle. It's a dense one, and it's long, so it's taking me a while to get through. But at this point, I love it. This is going to be a 5-star, even though I had a rough start. It's going to be a 5-star. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't want to talk too much about it right now, but if you have not read this, or if you tried it, or if it's on your radar, because it was in SBFBO last year, please do pick it up. It's fantastic. The prequel, hold on. Where did I put it? There it is. The prequel is Warsong, so I do recommend reading Warsong. This is actually fantastic to read before Price of Power because this gives fantastic context for who Daneth is and his rebellion and what has formed the nation that we are following, this nation of groups. Highly recommend Warsong. It's dark, it's grim. This is also dark and grim, but this gives great context for this. I really enjoyed this. Besides my one quibble with it, which I explained last week, this is just as good. My favorite thing so far is the touch of horror we got at about 70%. Tefos is ascending this mountain, and those that ascend the mountain, 95% die. The other 5% become awakened or ruptured. Ruptured, they are basically mad and they need to be put down. They have great power, usually full of like actual fire or something, it's implied, and they have to be killed. But awakened become mages, and they get some sort of grand power, the ability to see into the river of reality. And he goes on the mountain to die. I suspect, because we're following his point of view, something else is going to happen. I have my theory. I'm at like 85% of the book, and I still don't know. Oh man, he's my favorite. I can't wait. No one in this is good. Everyone is a little morally gray. It's good. It's a grim, dark fantasy. It's dense, and I highly recommend it. If you haven't picked it up and you like grim, dark, and you like dense fantasy, I can't recommend it enough. Try Warsong. It is the prequel. It will give you context and it will give you a taste of this author's writing. And if you like it, continue this. It is out. The sequel comes out in June. But that's it for Friday Reads. Honestly, like I said, it's a slow week. We've just been busy with everything else and I just haven't had a chance to read, unfortunately. Hopefully next week, once this is done with how dense it is, I will be able to actually jump into some shorter stuff and some arcs. I did start Forged by Destiny last night. That is an Orbit release that comes out, I think, next Tuesday. I want to read The Raven Scholar, obviously, and Hunger in His Blood by Zoe Draven. There's a lot of things that I keep staring at that I so desperately want to read, but I have not had a chance, and when I do have time, I'm trying to chip away at this. That's it. Let me know what y'all are reading. Has it been a slow week for you? What have you got done? I want to know. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. I'll talk to you again next week. Bye. Stinger, for those who stick around. Oh, there it is. There it is. My face tracking is on, so it's turning. But look. Look at it. Yes. Yes. I'm pretty sure that's Prince Barodane, or Prince, the Mad Prince. Look at this, is funny. Okay. And is that Garlina? Book mail. Price of Power. I dropped it on my foot. I have regrets.